Hello. We'd like to spend a few minutes sharing our new syllabi checklist with you. This overview will provide you with an understanding of why this ongoing process improvement event happened and how you can use the new syllabi checklist in your accreditation processes, as well as your own ongoing process improvement. Ongoing efforts to make sure that the accreditation process works for our stakeholders happens all the time at CAHME. And our feedback loop includes an awful lot of stakeholders. We wanted to let you know that we're listening and that we hear from site visitors as well as programs, faculty, and other stakeholders involved in the CAHME process. And we're excited to use that feedback to make improvements that will make it easier for the programs to go through the accreditation process, will increase inter-rater reliability within our site visit teams, and just overall follow that high quality ongoing process improvement philosophy that CAHME uses for all of our programs. What we heard from our CAHME stakeholders was that the syllabus cover sheets that we've asked programs to complete for every self-study, one sheet per syllabi, really wasn't necessarily the best process. It created some time-consuming efforts, maybe some additional capacity needs, and sometimes they were confusing. The determination of a higher or lower level teaching and learning method may not have been clear. Sometimes what was defined didn't really match up with what the program was doing. And so sometimes programs would underestimate the amount of higher level learning they were doing through assessments and teaching methods. And so we took all of that feedback and decided to create something that we think both the programs and the site visit teams will find very helpful. Before we get to the checklist, I want to just remind everyone really what the site visit team is looking at. The syllabi are an extremely important part of considering whether or not your program has met its mission. And that means, are we really getting the students who we've brought into the places we say they're going? And as you all know, the course content, the curriculum, and the competency model play big roles in that. And when we review the syllabi the syllabi, it helps us kind of put that puzzle together. And so 3A 2 through 6 has all of those domain areas in it in which we're looking for those in the syllabi. Our criterion also require team-based learning, integrative experiences, access to healthcare and healthcare leaders. And those are all elements we could also find inside the syllabus, whether that be in a digital copy of the syllabus or on the learning management system. Competency assessment also happens in there. We're looking to see if you have identified competencies in your course, the level at which students are expected to achieve in that course for that competency, or in the case of kind of culminating projects or courses, what are the program level targets and how are you communicating that with your students? And so the checklist should help us be more clear about what we're looking at and help you prepare for the site visit. Who will use this new tool? Well, pretty much everybody. The programs and the site visit teams will now use the same tool, which is really important. We want to make sure that you know exactly what's expected and that the site visit teams are all using the same information to increase that inter-rater reliability to make sure that we are consistent in the evaluation. Adding the syllabi checklist will also allow CAHME to do some review of data to make sure that we're providing the right information and maybe uncover some other opportunities for ongoing process improvement. All right, here's the top part of the checklist. Again, just some kind of basics to set the stage for who's using it, what we're assuming when we start to look at your syllabi. And one is that you will have a proficiency scale. You can call it anything you like. This is just kind of a generic name, but it is a scale in which you've identified the level that you want a student to achieve for that competency, either in the course or in the program. And you may use numbers, you may use words. This is really up to you. CAHME does not require any particular format in the proficiency scale, but that you somehow identify what level the students need to achieve. And if you're using course competency assessment and program assessment, whatever that target level is. We all have to have a competency model as a part of our program. Competency-based education is the foundation for the criterion. And does that model reflect itself in your syllabi? Can we see what competencies are assigned and how they'll be measured? And the how they'll be measured portion is important. So whether that is in the syllabi or the learning management system, it doesn't matter. We want to make sure we're inclusive of all ways in which programs share this information with their students. All right, here's the beginning of the review elements for this checklist. And we created this as a tool for programs to use to do their own self-assessment, as well as for site visit teams to do the assessment in the self-study review. And so on your left, you'll see the review elements, an opportunity to just say yes or no. We've given you some new descriptions to let you know what the site visit team is looking for, and a final comment column that you can use as an ongoing process improvement tool to look for improvement. Certainly, this is the crux of what we're trying to do, is say, pause, take a moment, and see what we could do better. So, are the competencies assigned to the courses listed? That's very important. Are there objectives and the level of competency attainment somewhere in there? Again, nothing new. We're not changing the requirements or the review elements at all. We're just putting them into one checklist so that you can see them all in one place. And so we're not asking you to do anything different with your syllabi other than to make sure that these standard requirements are in there or in your learning management system. All right, the next part of the checklist, are the course assessments identified? Do the assessments match that figure 12? And finally, is it a graduate level healthcare related course? And this was part of the assessment when we looked at higher and lower level teaching and learning methods. We're hoping for a much more global view as we look at this. Do the topics match your students' needs as they go to look for jobs? Are the assignments and assessments the kinds of assignments and assessments someone needs to meet your program level requirements and attain those jobs? And so the site visit team is really trying to put that puzzle together and bring all those elements into one space so we can understand what's going on. So looking through your syllabi or your LMS is perfectly wonderful, because we get to really see how well you're doing in meeting your mission. And so those descriptions in the middle provide you with some guidance. Certainly your site visit team might have other questions or other thoughts around this. We're just trying to give some broad overview so that you can assess your own program. All right, let's recap and go back over our new and improved process. The CAHME Syllabi checklist is used by both our programs, their faculty, and our site visit team, so that we are on the same page as we look at your curriculum, your competencies through your syllabi. And the syllabus cover sheets that used to be there are no longer required. You do not have to fill out the syllabus cover sheet, and you do not have to submit it in your self-study. We know that all of you do a great job of evaluating your program, looking at your curriculum, contemplating your competencies, the content, the topics that you go over, and we say, here's some more time back to do that. You don't have to fill out the syllabus cover sheets any longer. You have a new tool that you can use for your own evaluation anytime you want, not just at the site visit and not just in the self-study, but to consider whether or not your courses are meeting your needs and your students' needs. We hope this is helpful and that this ongoing process improvement from CAHME benefits your program and your students.